Okay, guys. Um, okay, so I promised to do a talk on the benefits of meditation, and I'm still trying to figure out exactly what to say. Um, I don't want to oversell it, and I don't want to undersell it, and I don't want to be a hypocrite. So I'm still figuring out exactly what I'm going to say for that. Which, but today I'm going to talk about something else. I'm still going to do that. That's coming up. But today I'm going to talk about something else because a good friend of mine sent me a post, and let me show it to you. Let me see. And by the way, I'm trying to do I'm trying to do all this without uh, doing any video editing, but we'll see how it works out. So I'm going to switch to the back camera, and hopefully that won't disrupt the recording. Okay, so now I'm on the back camera. By the way, this is my motorhome from the inside. I showed you the outside. And this is my dog, Blanca. Blanca, how you doing? Oh, oh, she's a good dog. Okay, anyway, so I could do this with video editing, but I'm going to try and do it without having to do video editing. Yeah, I can do video editing, but it's just so tedious that I'm trying to do all these things in just one shot. So here's what a friend of mine sent me, and I'm going to read this. Running through the sprinklers, chasing down the ice cream truck, riding bikes with friends around the neighborhood, swinging so high that the poles lifted up out of the ground, picking blueberries, catching fireflies. No internet, no cell phones, no social media. We headed home when the street lights came on. Those were the summers of my childhood. How lucky I was to have grown up before technology took over the world. Okay, so I got that post. Okay, good. I got that post, and from a very great friend of mine in Grand Junction. Hi, Kendall. How you doing? And and I thought about it. I thought about it a bunch, and I was gonna answer it, and then I decided to delay a little bit and think about it. The post made me think. I mean, it's kind of interesting when he talks about running through the sprinklers, chasing down the ice cream truck, riding bikes with friends, swinging and picking blueberries and catching fireflies. I mean, this is the essence of spirituality. This is, this is, it's like the Moody Blues, in the eyes of a child, you will see. And it's that running through the sprinklers as a child that is the essence of spirituality. And that is the goal of spirituality, is to get back to that state. If spirituality involves any kind of mental acrobatics and figuring out the theology and the cosmology of the world, then that's just not for me. But whatever you want to do is fine. You know, that's okay. Um, but then at the end, the post goes, no internet, no cell phones, no social media. We headed home when the streetlights came on. Those were the summers of my childhood. How lucky I was to have grown up before technology took over the world. Okay. Yeah, I I want to be a child again. Yeah, I mean, who doesn't? Of course, childhood was not always that great. I mean, sometimes kids are mean, and it's kind of restrictive. You have to do what you're told and all that. Um, I would love to go back to being a child, but I'd like to know what I know now. Um, it's like I grew up with less technology than most people my age because my father worked for the State Department and we traveled around the world, and typically we didn't have television. And so I did more reading than anybody does today. And I kind of have a you know I I like technology. I like technology. I mean, um, I use technology. I got some kind of link here. Anyway, that's okay. the I'm getting text messages from my wife, so there's an example of technology, and I think it. See, this thing ends. It says, "Those were the summers of my childhood. How lucky I was to have grown up before technology took over the world." Well, it's easy to blame technology for society's problems, and to some extent, technology has caused society problems. But how far back do you want to go? How far back should you take technology? Should we go back before modern medicine? Childhood is not that great when you get sick and die. Now, everybody's going to get sick and die. That's just the way it goes. But we want to delay it as long as possible. I mean, life is a great thing. Should we go back before the Industrial Revolution? Ah, well, there's a great book called Sapiens, and I forget the author's name, but it's a great book. And in that book, he describes the technology traps that human culture has gotten into. And one of them is the Industrial Revolution. And the Industrial Revolution is the cause of our current ecological problems. But was life all that great before the Industrial Revolution? The idea is childhood was better before technology, but before the Industrial Revolution, childhood, most children were just working in the fields for their whole lives, and short lives at that. We have gone through a number of technological revolutions, and I'm taking all of this from the book Sapiens. Um, how about the agricultural revolution? This is a period, I don't know, somewhere between 10 and 20,000 years ago, when human beings transitioned from being hunting and gatherers to agriculture. And the argument in the book Sapiens is that the quality of life was reduced, that people were happier as hunters and gatherers. They had better nutrition. It was certainly better for the environment. Uh, the populations were smaller, and people lived in, sort of tribal family type units and were possibly happier. But like most technological traps, because the agricultural revolution is described in this book, Sapiens, as a technological trap. And a trap is something that once you're in it, you can't get out of it. We can't go back to being hunting and gatherers. That's not going to work. Agriculture allowed the population to increase a lot. And once the population increases a lot, there's no going back to hunting and gathering. The Industrial Revolution, we found that there's unlimited, well, not unlimited, but there's almost unlimited amounts of energy, mechanical energy, that you can get from burning fossil fuels. At first it was coal, and then now we're doing oil. And we can't go back. As a civilization, we've become addicted to all this energy, and there's no going back. And now the latest revolution is the information revolution. That's the internet and computers. And again, the guy who made this post, and my friend Kendall, I don't think he authored it. I think he posted somebody else's post. So as a species, we are a collective mind. Since the beginning of speech, human beings gathered in groups and talked, and by talking with each other, they solved their problems. And this process of being a collective mind there's certain technologies that have come along that have increased the efficiency of our collective mind. And that efficiency of our collective mind, like, for example, writing. This means the thoughts of great thinkers and philosophers and technologists can share their ideas outside of just talking. So they get to cross sort of the boundaries of space and time. Their thoughts can be transmitted to other places and have passed through time. So now we get to read Plato and Aristotle and Archimedes, and these people's thoughts are still influencing us today. And then the next technology was like the printing press. So now you can more efficiently copy the writing. And it's not a coincidence that the invention of the printing press occurred right before the invention or the occurrence of the Renaissance. I mean, the printing press caused this explosion of technology. And now we have the internet. And for all of its problems, and one of the problems is that it's reduced the limitation. When the printed word or even radio and television was the way of transmitting knowledge, then it was kind of limited to people who were vetted. In other words, the publisher's not going to print your book if it's complete nonsense. But now with the internet, anybody can publish any kind of nonsense, as evidenced by this video. So that is a problem, because it means that there's this spread of crazy nonsense. I'm not going to get into any details about all the conspiracy theories and stuff, but there's this thing, oh, if it's on the computer, it must be true. If it's, and that's of course just nonsense. And of course, that applies to my videos too. I mean, this is just my nonsense, right? So it's not that big a thing. Anyway, the internet has problems, but I remain positive and optimistic about us being able to solve our technological problems and even our societal problems. And one thing that makes me optimistic is the increased efficiency of the collective human mind that is caused by the internet. The fact that ideas can be disseminated. Now, it's up to all of us to try and pick through all these ideas and try and figure out which ones are good and which ones are nonsense. And, just as a clue, if the ideas that you're getting through the internet involve like hating people, then those are not good ideas. And so, it's natural to blame other people for problems that occur. This is sort of a defense mechanism that we all have in our minds, that if there's any kind of problem, we want to blame other people. And this is just our sort of a mental self-defense. We want to blame other people or blame something else, blame the internet, blame technology. And my experience is you go through 3 stages. The first thing is your mind wants to blame other people, other things around you. That's the first thing that's to blame. And that's sort of like stage 1. And then stage 2 is where you go, really, I'm the one that is at fault. And I'm to blame for everything. Everything in my life that is not right is my own fault. And that's like the second stage. And then I think there's a third stage where no one is to blame. and it's not anybody's fault. And what seemed like a problem is not really a problem. That it's okay, and you can just sort of let it go. Anyway, that's my rant for today, and I'm still going to do the thing about the benefits of meditation. I'm still going to do that, but like I said, I'm having trouble. I'm having trouble figuring out exactly what to say. I don't want to be hypocritical about it, and I don't want to oversell it or undersell it, but I'm going to work that out, and that'll be another video. And till then, have a great day. Bye-bye now.